Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Demon Slayer. Okay, I'm here with some messages. Okay, this is gonna be a video about what does a death wish means. Okay, a death wish. This been coming to me lately because a lot of people got death wishes. Okay, a death wish is a desire for someone's death, especially an unconscious desire for one's own death. A lot of people wants me dead. Okay, that's why I had to do it because the Most High he telling me this in my ear, a death wish, a death wish, a death wish. I mean, I probably do got a death wish because I am doing some suicidal military shit, okay? This what I'm doing on this channel is suicide, okay? Period. But people do want me dead, okay? So, what does it mean when someone has a death wish? It is the conscious or unconscious desire for the death of oneself or of another. See? What is death by wish called? Suicidal ideation. Terms for thoughts about killing oneself. See? That's how I feel sometimes. Is wishing death on someone normal? According to criminal psychologist Dr. Julia Shaw, having thoughts about killing others is a common human reaction that can be expected of us. And this is to be expected. After all, these thoughts have roots in the very human emotion of hatred. Okay. Example sentences. Have you seen the way she drives? She must have a death wish. Okay. Recent examples on the web. Maybe even a death wish. Little Luke Barber, Washington Post 23, March 2023. Every Slayer has a death wish. See? Angelica Jada Baptisian, Bush 25, October 2021. But what of the death wish? David Mon National Review 17 September 2020. It's a desire for death. He takes so many chances that you think he had a death wish. See me. Terms commonly applied to those who engage in activities that significantly raise their risk of severe bodily injury or death. This is the first of several films featuring Charles Bronson as Paul Cussey, a modern-day urban equivalent of Robin Hood. That Zorro. That's what I am. I'm Robin Hood, okay? In The Lone Ranger. When initially released, he got an album called The Little Red Riding Hood. When initially released by Jackie O, Death Wish was immediately controversial as was Dirty Harry 1971. Audience tended to be divided between those who were offended by what they considered to be excessive violence and those who, like Harry Collins and Paul Cussey, had lost confidence in society, willingness, and ability to respond effectively to violent crime. See, that's what I'm going through right now. Okay, nobody is supporting the movements. Okay, right. When we first meet Cussy, he is in all respects a gentleman, a successful architect who is happily married to Joanna Hope Lange and a proud father of his beloved daughter. He is carefully positioned as a law-abiding citizen. After his wife and daughter are brutally attacked by thugs who escape punishment, Cussy commits himself to ridding the city of such crap. In fact, he seeks them out in the most likely area, for example, public parks and on subways, coldly and systematically killing as many as he can. Of course, other law-abiding citizens are wholly supportive of his efforts, but law enforcement officials fear the possible implication of such voluntarism. See, when people annoy you constantly despite your threat to beat the crap out of them, this type of person has a death wish, and if they want to be killed by you. See, if people be crying me and I ask them nicely to leave me alone and they keep doing it, that's also they want a death wish. And I'm not, I'm just saying that I'm so stupid. I want to be an effing superhero. Ha ha ha. We. Okay, anyway. Jesus came to earth to die for us so we can live abundantly through his victory over death. By wishing for the death of oneself or of another, we ridicule Jesus' sacrifice on the cross for us and choose to side with Satan, who only kills and destroys. John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Wishing death brings judgment. Every prayer is a type of wish, and a death wish is one of the most ungodly prayers we can speak over ourselves or other people. We were meant to think of or speak words of life, not words of death. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Philippines 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Many people fantasize about death without even realizing its consequences. In fact, the world romanticizes death. Shows and songs exalt it as the ultimate solution to pain. We may even be tuned to see it as a form of sacrifice or heroic act. Some cultures also lose words of death in their everyday language. The kind of Chinese language loses the word, whatever that is, as an expression. Okay. The English language has phrases such as cross my heart and hope to die. Such, yeah, like my kids, they be like, I put that on my mama. Don't be putting shit on me. Don't be putting shit on me. Okay. Such sober, that what I'm gonna be saying too. Like, don't be putting shit on me, y'all. Okay. Such subtle influences can lead us to think about death and dying. For example, we may curse ourselves. Dying is better than living. I do that. It would be better if I was never born. I do that. Curse others. See Matthew 5:22. I never curse nobody. I never put death on nobody. To wish death or disasters on other people. Be cursed or hated by others. 1 John 3:15. Be the target of attempted abortion. Be the target of other people's hatred or death wishes. Wish for a permanent end to our pain. Lord, please cut my life short. I want to see Jesus early. Life is too painful. I'd rather be dead. Become fascinated with death. What would dying be like? What would it be like to be murdered? Okay, I did that in the movie. Okay, and who will attend my funeral? What's it like to be murdered? Attempted suicide. Think about or suggestion abortion. Afflict self-harm on ourselves, play act death. Sleep in a coffin or graveyard. Dressed as a skeleton or the dead. Celebrate death. Halloween, ancestor worship, festivals of the dead, ghost festivals of the Day of the Dead, Mexico, etc. Wish to die in order to be united with dead people. 1 John 3:15. Anyone who hates another brother or sister is really a murderer at heart, and you know that murderers don't have eternal life within them. Matthew 5:22. If you curse someone, you are in danger of the fires of hell. Even if people do not die immediately from a death wish, the consequence is always some form of spiritual death, or in other words, a curse. God says that if we choose to live the way He determines for us, we'll be blessed abundantly. However, we rebel and choose death, we risk deadly consequences. Deuteronomy 30:19 in the New Testament. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Deuteronomy 30:15. See, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. Death which comes from an enemy desire for life. Number 1. Biblical evidence. People wish for death when they lose sight of dignity or hope for a normal life. In their despair over the many sins of their time, many of God's prophets in the Old Testament, such as Elijah, Moses, Jonah, and Jeremiah, grappled with the ideas of dying. Note, any mercy for death wishes ended after Jesus came to give us new life. One of the most faithful men of one of the faithful men of God, Job, lost all his children, property, and wealth in a single day. When this happened, Job steadfastly declared, should we accept only good things from the hand of God and never anything bad? Later, Satan struck him with swords from his head to his feet. In a moment of weakness, as his self-dignity crumbled, Job cursed his own birth. Okay, yeah, I did that the other day. Not really, but yeah. Job 3:1. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. Yet, throughout his suffering, Job refused to curse God or speak any evil of other people. Later, God appeared to Job and blessed him with twice of everything he had previously because he remained faithful to God's commandments. While Job may not have understood God's purpose for his suffering in his lifetime, Job's personal story has been a powerful comfort and encouragement to millions of Christians over the years. Job 42:10-12. And the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he had prayed for his friends. And the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. And the Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. 2. Scientific evidence. People wish for death when they lose sight of dignity or hope for a normal life. Researchers had coined a term for people's death wishes. It is called the WTHD, the wish to hasten death. A summary of various WTHD studies published by the U.S. National Library of Medicine points out that people only want to hasten death when they lose sight in the ability to live with dignity. In interviews with terminally ill patients, study has shown that people end up choosing the last resort of death as they encounter grave physical, psychological, or spiritual suffering. Essentially, WTHD is a cry for help and a way to take back control over one's life when all seem hopeless. WTHD is often a response to a person's wish to live but not this way, sense of loss and control over life's direction, emotional distress, hopelessness, and desire to end suffering. Next, 3. Practical evidence. People wish for death when they lose sight of dignity or hope for a normal life. The experiences of a handful of believers were compared for his blog post. Suffering is very personal and everyone reacts differently to various trials. There usually is a point where they crack under pressure as their suffering intensifies. Doubt and discouragement creep in as their hopes in Jesus Christ are severely tested. In general, the sentiment is, God, why are you not removing this suffering? If only I can die sooner and go to heaven. Teaching Humble Hearts once conducted a survey of 25 Christian men and women, asking if they had even entertained the following thoughts. Here are the results. 1. It is better I am not around anymore, 71%. 2. I wonder what my funeral would be like, 42%. I'm hearing empty by my brother. 3. Uh, Wanted dead or alive by Tommy, my friend. I wish God would take me to heaven early, 42%. Life is painful, death is peaceful, 38%. Dying is better than living, 33%. I want to die now, be dead already, 33%. I wish God would shorten my life, 21%. I don't want to live beyond the age of blank, 21%. Death wishes are not uncommon and they grieve God's spirit. Who is the spirit of life? As his children. As his children, we need the perseverance to hold on to the promises of a greater reward for our earthly sufferings, so that we have the awareness to flee the temptation to make a death wish. Romans 8:18. I keep seeing that angel number 8:18. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth compared with the glory that is to be revealed to us. 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to many. God is faithful and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it. Overcoming death wishes to live fully in Christ, 13:13. Thank God that he really forgives us for our death wishes when we repent and even gives us the privilege of being co-his with Jesus Christ. Romans 8:16-17. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God, and if children, being heirs of God, and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him. 1. Repent. 2. Break our covenant with Satan. 3. Give our lives fully to Jesus. 4. Seek to turn suffering into praises. Okay, see testimony. Jesus sets breakers free from despair. Mother testimony. Death wishes in the Hebrew Bible. Any of us in the depths of despair have wished for death. What about figures in the Hebrew Bible? Enough now, Yahweh. Take my life, Elijah says. 1 KGS 19:4. Or 1 Kings. My son, Absalom, if only I had died instead of you, David cries. 2 Sam 19:1. Do that all the time. Rachel is desperate to conceive and she says to Jacob, give me children or I will die. Genesis 31. A death wish test is one in which a literacy carries to others in one form or another a wish to die. The definition does not consider whether the motivation or goal of the wish is really dead. It really is death. The motivation, or better, the rhetoric function of the death wish needs to be determined case by case, and a literary context. There is no death wish genre in the Hebrew Bible, but the texts still have some characteristics in common. The death wishes are always formulated in direct speech, as in the example above. They are generally addressed to someone in the second person, and the addressee may be him and the divine. In our examples, Rachel addresses Jacob, Elijah addressed God. Finally, the death wish are often formulated as conditional sentences. If this is the way you are going to treat me, then kill me now. Moses to God in number 11:15, and Most High said it what these people are saying. Like they don't want me. I'm not gonna rule the fucking world. I keep telling you dumb ass motherfuckers, I'm not gonna be ruling the world. Like I said, the Most High gonna take his shit back, and I'm gonna be on the fucking beach chilling and living my motherfucking life. Okay, period. I'm not gonna be like them. I'm not. No, fuck y'all. I'm giving Most High his shit back, his world back, and I'm gone with my men and kids. Fuck y'all. Anyways, his biblical death wishes range from explicit appeals to die or to be killed. And now Yahweh takes my life from me, Jonah 4:3. Ask of God to more indirect death wishes in the form of questioning one's life worth. Like they said, it should have been you that died in the machine than your daughter Kia. And I be like, yeah, you're right. It should have been. But shit, it wasn't. And it was not my fault. Shit, I told him to take me. Y'all come at the wrong bitch. You better come at Shanice. Anyways, Jonah 4:3 asks of God to more indirect question. Rebecca, who is not happy with Esau having married Hittite woman, says to Isaac, if Jacob takes a wife from among the Hittite women, such as these, what would my life be to me? Genesis 27:46. There are 18 such death wishes texts in the Hebrew Bible, including the suicide stories, spread out over 8 books, but mostly found in narratives. 9 different characters, others they wish to die, Rebecca, Rachel, the Israelites as a collective, Moses, David, Elijah, Jeremiah, Jonah, and Job, but they do not all want to die. 2 questions occur when we are to consider whether a death wish is real. What frequents the death wish in the text, and how does the death wish function rhetorically in their literal contexts? I identify 4 different rhetorical uses of the death wish. 1. Some death wishes are part of a navigation strategy where the petitioner is bargaining with God or with a human being to achieve his or her goal. 2. That was Gina did with Shanice. 2. And yeah, later on, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all the real motive behind Shanice killing y'all Kia. Okay? That's kind of picture first, though. 2. Other death wishes are a general lament and longing for death. Or 3. More readily, a wish to eradicate one's whole existence and never to have been born at all. 4. Finally, death wishes can be expression of wishful thinking, grumbling, or even mourning, always in a wish that cannot be fulfilled. The expression I find most intriguing is when the death wish is part of a bargain with someone or higher form of power. It functions as a part of a navigation strategy. Rachel's demand in Genesis 30 is one example. Rachel bargained with Jacob, her husband, who due to the patriarchal society of ancient Israel would have more form of power than her. Her desire is not to die. Rather, she uses the death wish to achieve a change in her life. Her wish is to get a son. Rachel might have felt that she would die. If she did not have a son, but death was not the goal. Her navigation was successful. Rachel eventually bore 2 sons, though she died giving birth to the second. Genesis 30:23, 35:19. Her sons were not in immediately response to her death wish, but the death wish was her first step on the long road to getting what she wanted. For Rachel, uttering a death wish was an act of empowerment. She stood up to the entity of power, and the act of defense led to a successful outcome. Then again, not everyone who expresses the death wish does so to gain something in life. Some really do want to die. It's cool. Elijah and Jonah both asked God to take their lives from them. They are prophets who had run away from their land and their missions. Dejected, they asked to die. In both cases, uh, yeah, you're right. In both cases, the prophet generally also okay. Elijah because he is exhausted in despair and all alone, and Jonah because he is angry and do not share God's priority of mercy over what Jonah sees as justice. Jonah 44 1 through 4. I guess I'm Elijah shit. Elijah says that he had enough. I mean, I probably both of them. I don't like how they do it either though. And Jonah is angry with God for sending him on a mission to Nineveh and coercing him into going after he tried so hard to get away. Not me. They do not want to prophesy anymore, and the only way they see out of it is death. Not just any death, but death by the hands of God. But neither Elijah nor Jonah dies as they ask. Ironically, Elijah never dies. Another prophet, Jeremiah, goes a step further. He does not only wish to die, but he wishes to eradicate his whole existence and never to have been born. Oh. Why did I come forth from the womb to see misery and sorrow and spend my days in shame? He laments. Jeremiah 20:18. My son said no. Jeremiah, probably the killers. Jeremiah's deep wish is to have avoided being a prophet in the first place and thus see and experience all the misery that was his lot. Finally, death wishes can serve as expression of wishful thinking. David's wish to have died in place of his son Absalom is one example. My son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you. 2 Sam 19:1. David's death wish is an expression of deep grief and a part of his mourning. His wish expresses denial, refusal to accept that his son is dead, and bargaining, wanting to take Absalom's place in death. Denial and bargaining are typical responses to loss, and David mourns the way parents do when they lose a child. David's wish to take Absalom's place in death is not a general wish to die, but a willingness to give up his life for his son if it had been possible. What is the relationship between death wishes and suicide, voluntary death? I suggest scholars are often too quick to read death wishes as expression of suicidal ideation. In doing so, they overlook the cathartic function death wishes have in the narrative. Uttering a wish to die does not necessarily mean that the character is suicidal. Most of the examples above, suicide is not a viable option for the character simply because it will not solve the problems at hand. Death is not what the characters actually seek. In the cases where we could argue that the characters are suicidal, as with Jonah and Elijah, it is not a condemnation of suicide that holds them back. Rather, it seems that the characters are restrained by the understanding that God, being the only one who called prophets, is the only one who can end their commission. I guess I'll read it again. Okay. Rather, it seems that the characters are restrained by an understanding that God, being the one who calls prophets, is the only one who can end their commission. A close study of the death wishes in the Hebrew Bible shows that they are always the first move in a conversation. That's the first part of an agency pair, and not a response to another character's utterance. That said, the death wishes are responses to situation and experiences, not the other character's speeches. In uttering their death wishes, the biblical characters strive to gain control of their situations. Death wishes are therefore rhetoric strategies for survival. They do this when they seek changes in their lives, but they also do this when they seek death. In actively seeking death, the characters try to alter their circumstances. The biblical characters claim agency and autonomy by uttering a death wish because they try to make something happen, whether they navigate or cry out in despair. Okay, so that is what a death wish means, okay? Hope y'all enjoy. I'm out. Peace.